What's up, everybody? It's your boy, J.R. Lee, and I'm back for another special episode. And guys, today I'm joined by a very, very, very special guest, Javant from Healthy Vegan Eating. And for me, on my own health journey, this is so important for this conversation. I know it's going to help so many people out there. And Javant, for the people who may not know who you are and your story, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, please, and what it is that you do?
Yeah, man. So I'm just an ordinary guy, but I have a
Yes, sir.
passion for health, nutrition, exercise. And so, I've been a health fanatic for years. And I was led to that point by having some health struggles, like a lot of people.
Sir.
And those health struggles, short story is just compelled me to eat better, to start exercising. I got better, got healthier. People were impressed and said, hey, you ought to be telling other people how to do this. Took it to heart, and I'm on social media showing people how to prepare healthy food, traditional foods in a healthy way, so that they can maintain, sustain health.
Oh man, that's amazing, man. And a lot of the times, when we choose something or something chooses us, for example, maybe a career or just a passion that chooses us, a lot of it is stemmed from just, solving our own problems. And so, I was doing a little research and I was scrolling down your page and I saw one of your videos and you look like you were a little heavier, man. You could talk about that a little bit, like at your heaviest, what can you talk about that a little bit? Like how heavy were you maybe? You look pretty good
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
bro.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I was about 80 pounds heavier than I am now, between 80 and
Wow.
90 pounds heavier. And
Wow.
that's but when I was, man, it really didn't alarm me because it's kind of the natural progression, unfortunately, of most
Yeah.
people. And
Yeah.
so I was looking like my friends in high school. We
Yeah.
were a certain size and we were active. And then, mid 20s, early 30s, you start to put on a little more, and so it didn't alarm me because I just thought this is what normal is. And it
Yeah.
is what normal is, but I decided not to be normal anymore once I saw what normal brings. And what normal brings is things like diabetes and hypertension and heart disease and strokes and cancer. And I was on that track, like many people around me and many people before me. And but it wasn't until I went to the doctor and it was determined that I was pre-diabetic and pre-hypertensive, and they thought I might have some more serious things going on, and they were running
Yeah.
tests. That's when it got real to me. And I said, wait a minute, hold it. No, is there something I can do? I started
Yeah.
Googling and researching and reading. And it was very, incremental, happened over a long period of time. But eventually
Right.
I got to where I am now, man, just through education and making changes.
Man, that's amazing, man. And I struggle with the similar things. I'm not gonna say the same thing, but similar things. But there's so many people out there that may struggle with health issues such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and they get that news from the doctor. What was it like? Was it that first inclination from the doctor that made you go on this journey, or was there like some shifts that you had to make in your mind to say, what, the doctor is telling me this, I have to really take this serious? Like, what was that shift in your mind and that led to the actions that you're taking now?
It was education, man. So it wasn't like an epiphany
Education.
moment. It wasn't an
Right.
epiphany moment where something was said and I was like, wow, uh-oh,
Yeah.
I got to do A, B, and C.
Right.
It scared me. It scared me. And I
Yeah.
said, well, man, people talk about getting healthy, and everybody goes to the old, standard. Hey, I got to start exercising. So I thought
Yeah.
about that, and I
Right.
did. I did that
Yeah.
too. But
Yeah.
also just, in this age we live in, man, information is right at your fingertips. And
Yeah.
so I just started Googling the healthiest diet, how to prevent cancer, how to prevent diabetes, and a lot of things
Right.
were coming back. Change your diet, change your
Change your
diet.
diet.
Right. Now, unfortunately, I didn't have anybody around me who was eating a healthy
Mm,
diet. So I didn't have
mm,
anyone to go to and say, hey, what do I do? So, look, bro, the first thing, when I first changed my eating habits, the first thing I became was paleo of all things, which is like the polar opposite of what I do now. Right. Lots of meat, vegetables, cutting out the carbs, cutting out the grains, and that kind of thing. And,
right.
and it got me positive results. It got me positive. I started losing weight and
Yep.
some of my numbers got better, but I did a lot more research and started understanding, wait a minute, the long-term ramifications of this, high protein, animal protein diet are serious. And so this
Yeah.
probably isn't the thing for me. Did more research. And again, it was very incremental. As I learned, I would change. And bro, I want you to know I'm still evolving. And I want to
Yes.
evolve until the day I die. If we're not
Yes.
evolving, then we're stagnant. I don't want to be stagnant. So even now, I still look for ways to tweak things and find new information. Because when it comes to health and nutrition, what's new now, 10 years from now, may be disproved. 5 years from now, may not be the way to go. So I'm always evolving and always looking for ways to improve upon even what now I think is a very healthy diet.
That's beautiful. And let's kind of like talk about that a little bit. Originally you said, healthy. Soon as the first thing came to your mind was exercise and stuff like that. And, we all have different definitions of what health is. what is your definition of a healthy diet, healthy vegan diet? What's Javant's definition of that?
Well, I came up in the nutritarian, well, shouldn't say I came up, but I am certified as a nutritarian, right?
Yes, sir.
Coaching, cooking, and in nutritarian studies. And the basic premise, there's four principles, but I don't like to get too involved in it. But the basic principle is eating high micronutrient foods in the context of moderate caloric restriction, right? So you're eating things that have lots of vitamins, lots of minerals, flavonoids, polyphenols, health promoting foods. And that basically leads to vegetables, fruits, nuts, seeds, mushrooms, beans, legumes, those kind of things. So that's primarily what I eat. And I make sure not to, because I mentioned nuts. Nuts and seeds are very high calorie, but I don't eat a lot of nuts and seeds, right? So again, it's just eating things that are high in micronutrients, low to moderate in calories. That's the basis of what I do.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. And along your journey, I'm pretty sure like you've had a lot of trials and tribulations. Like, how did you stick to what you do now? Like during your transition from eating whatever you wanted to eat, switching from a paleo diet to eventually the vegan diet that you're in now, like what was the thing? How did you transition?
Again, it was always tweaking, man. It was small things. It was never radical. I didn't go from eating a lot of meat and vegetables to, oh, absolutely no meat. In fact, I gave up the meat first, and I just gave up fish maybe 2 or 3 years ago, completely. Again, it was never just a radical. I'm from 0 to 100, or from black to white, or from A to B. It was always making little changes, little changes, little changes as I got the information to get where I am. I hope that answers your question.
No, it did. And did you, as when you started changing your diet, excuse me, and the food that you eat, did you notice a change in not just your physique, but maybe your energy, your change in your mood? Did any of those things change?
Energy, yes. But I've always had a steady mood. I've always been just very steady with my mood. So I'm not up and down. I don't have swings, highs and lows with my mood. So there wasn't a big difference there. But energy, are you kidding me? And here's the thing, man. Here's something that I've said in a lot of interviews, so people who watch them will expect this, but you never know how it feels to feel good until you feel good. And I say that because back before I realized, hey, I've got pre-diabetes, I've got pre-hypertensive and those kind of things, I felt fine. I still play basketball. Now I wasn't running and exercising regularly, consistently, but I would play basketball here and there, and I'd walk somewhere and I wouldn't be out of breath. So I thought I was fine. I thought I felt good. But man, once I changed my diet and started exercising regularly, now I understand, whoa, now I really feel good. That normal that I had of this is what it feels like to feel good is so far off from where I am now. It's night and day. So I definitely noticed more energy. And the other thing I noticed too is that, like a lot of people, I would eat, I was never big on breakfast. I would eat breakfast here and there, but I would eat relatively early in the day. Then I might eat a snack and then eat at night. Then I might eat something before I go to bed. Now, bro, I eat at 5 o'clock in the morning and about 5 o'clock in the evening. And in between, I don't eat at all. And I'm lifting weights, I'm running, I'm exercising, and I don't get hungry. Because when you feed your body the micronutrients, the nutrients that it needs, it doesn't crave anything else. And it's a beautiful thing because that 12-hour window between where I eat in the morning and where I eat in the evening allows my body time to cleanse and detoxify. And that's important. You hear people say, hey, I got to fast. Fasting is healthy. And I agree with that. But I don't fast for 2 or 3 days or a week. I fast every day. It's just for 12 hours. And that allows my body time to do what it needs to do and purify and cleanse. So man, my energy levels are through the roof.
Now, is that similar to, I guess, intermittent fasting? I've heard about that all the time. Is that what that is, kind of, in that window?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is. Intermittent fasting. It has 2 or 3 different names, but essentially that's what it is. And it works for me. It works for me. I didn't do it just to say, hey, intermittent fasting, I need to start doing that. I just said, okay, I'm going to eat in the morning, and then I'm going to do what I do and eat in the afternoon. And it just worked out that I got this 12-hour window between each meal, and it's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely, man. And I found your page, through Instagram, through Reels, and one, your content is amazing. You could tell that the love and the passion that you pour into the things that you do. Now, how did you get into like some of these recipes? Like, was it something that you just started studying different things, trial and error? Like, because I tried the veggie ground recipe. I make that twice a week now. Like, it's a staple in my household now. It's a staple in my household now. So like, how did you come across some of these recipes? Like, what got you kind of like going with this?
Yeah, excellent question. And I'm telling you, that's my most popular recipe by far.
I
I've
love it,
had
bro.
so many. Oh man, it's the bomb because
You can
it
turn it
makes
into
a
so many
lot.
things.
It makes a lot and it's versatile, man. What can't you
Yeah,
make? Well, you can make 12, 15 different things with it. So I
yeah.
love that. And I love hearing that you love it. But as
Oh
far as
man.
how I, come up with the recipes, some of them are just my brainchild. I'll sit around and think, well, what can I make this different? Or what can I do? Or they want this or they want, because I get people
Yeah.
asking for stuff all the time. Like, how would I approach that? And then I just come up with it organically. Other
Right.
things are things that I saw grandma make or my aunt make. And I'm like,
Mm,
man, I want to make that macaroni and cheese. How can I make it vegan? And I figure it out. And then some things I'm like you. I'm on Instagram and I'm looking at recipes and I find something and go, oh, that's nice, but it has
yeah.
oil. But I know how to do
Ah,
it and leave that oil out, or it has wheat or it has sugar. But I'm going to do it with dates and I'm going to do it with almond flour. You follow me? And so it's a
yeah.
combination of all those things. Some are just organic, coming from my mind. Other things I'm trying to emulate what I saw my grandmother or my aunt or my mom make. And then sometimes I'm seeing other recipes and going, okay, how could I tweak that and make it my own? So it's a combination of all those things that are the way that I come up with the recipes.
That's a beautiful answer. You just said something I want to talk about, doing it with no oil. One of the things that what makes you different than a lot of people is that you try to reduce oil or no oil, reducing refined sugars and wheats and stuff like that. Why is that important in a diet such as this?
Well, it's important to me because I know what those things do to you long term.
Mm,
And oil, refined wheat, refined sugar, and even rice. I don't eat any rice either, and
wow.
not much processed food either. I eat a little processed food, but not much. Those things, man, are kind of the culprits that get a lot of people in trouble. You just don't realize it because everybody's eating it. And
Wow.
but if you want to take one of them, the wheat and if you want to talk about them in one at a time, we can. But
Yeah.
basically, those are the things that can cause a lot of people a lot of problems. Once I learned that, you got to eliminate them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for answering in such a way. And we can talk about them one by one a little bit if we can. Like for example, in your for guys, if you guys want to know the full recipe, check out his YouTube. Amazing full on long-term content, long-form content. But in your veggie ground recipe, you don't use oil to cook the vegetables. You use water, or vegetable broth. I think it's water for the actual grounds.
Or
How did you like how I didn't know you could make anything with water, like you can start cooking something with water, like I
right,
was like the
right.
first time I made it I actually used a little bit of the olive oil, spray oil. I wasn't paying attention, but then the second time I saw the difference that the water made. Can you talk about that a little bit, like actually replacing oil with water or vegetable broth?
Right, right. That sometimes that's what I do. If I'm stir
Yeah.
frying veggies, and that's the way I go. Other
Right.
times, if you're baking, you might replace the oil with something else, like
Mm.
applesauce, for example. When
Applesauce.
you're applesauce, you can use a flax egg, which is ground flax with water and mixing that. You can use your nut butters, tahini, almond butter, those kind of things, because oil is basically adding moisture. It doesn't add a lot of flavor to things, it adds moisture.
Right.
And so you can add those moistures different ways, and that's what I do.
Wow. Okay. Okay. And now let's talk about like the wheat and the like. You said you don't eat rice at all. What are some of the things that you replace those things with?
Well, replacing rice is easy. I use either quinoa, which is a pseudo grain. It's not a true
Quinoa,
grain, but
quinoa,
it's like a grain. Yeah. Millet,
cauliflower, millet.
and then
Never had
cauliflower, and
millet.
then
Never had
mhm.
millet. Can you talk
Millet's
about millet
good.
a little bit?
I mean, it's great. It's high in calcium. The reason that I use millet and quinoa and cauliflower and I don't use white rice is because
Right.
they don't spike your blood sugar like white rice, and they
Mhm.
offer nutrients, right?
Wow.
So white rice, when they remove the bran and they remove the fiber and they remove the nutrients, you're just left with just a pasty white mess, bro. It spikes your blood sugar. It really doesn't offer anything nutritionally. Whereas millet, quinoa, cauliflower rice, they're not spiking my blood sugar and I'm getting nutrients, right? So it's a much better choice. And that's why I use those three things.
Absolutely, absolutely, man, absolutely. And another question I want to ask is like how has your environment maybe influenced your recipes or maybe cultural taste? I saw you made a jerk sauce the other day. I'm not sure if you have any Caribbean in you or anything, but I thought that was amazing. How has your environment shaped maybe some of the recipes that you choose to make?
Excuse me. No, I'm not from the Caribbean at all. I just try to be very versatile, right? I try
Yes,
to have
sir.
something for everybody. There was a weekend where I did a couple of Greek dishes, and then I'll do some, you name it. I mean, matter of fact, this weekend is funny you say that. This weekend, Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to do a couple of Jamaican style recipes.
Oh
So
man, I can't
check
wait to
those
see that.
out. Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I did my jerk sauce yesterday. I did Jamaican jerk sauce yesterday. But
Yeah.
as far as my environment influencing my recipes, I have made things like I said that were staples in my home: the macaroni and cheese, the sweet
Macaroni and
potato pie.
cheese. Yes, sir.
Those kind of recipes are things that I grew up eating and grew up loving, and so I try to include those because I know a lot of people say, "Man, I can't eat that healthy stuff. I can't eat mac and cheese if I'm vegan. How am I going to eat a sweet potato pie if I'm not using sugar and I'm not using wheat?" So I like to do those kind of recipes and make people go, wait a minute, maybe I can get with this. Maybe I might be able to do this. I can eat that. I can eat this. I do an oven fried chicken, which is actually mushrooms, but you would swear it's chicken.
Yeah.
So those things are the things that I was, that my culture kind of influenced me to make. But then I also make things, that just are healthy, just salads, hummus, etc., that I didn't grow up eating also.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. And like I said earlier, I found you via social media on Instagram. How has like social media changed your life as far as like YouTube, maybe Facebook and Instagram?
Well, I mean, has it changed my life? Well, it's just right here, man. It's changed my spirit, my heart, because through those platforms, so many people have expressed to me that I'm helping them, and that's what I want
Yeah,
to do, man. It doesn't get
yeah,
any better than that, right? I mean, people are always saying, "I love your recipes. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for putting these out there." And I tell them all the time, look, it's an equal exchange, man, because
yeah,
when you are improving your situation, and I have people writing me, hey, my son wasn't eating this and now he's eating it and he's better, or my husband, and it makes me feel great. That's my payment, man. So the way
yeah,
social media has changed my life is giving me the ability to connect with people and give them a resource that I wish I would have had when I first started, because there was no healthy vegan page out there for me to say, oh, this is how I
yeah.
make things without the oil, without the wheat. This is how I make things that I'm used to, in a healthy manner. And so I was just trying to create and fill the void that I had when I was wanting to transition to healthier eating. And social media has allowed me to do that. I'm grateful, bro. I'm grateful.
Absolutely. Gratitude is everything, man. And I believe that wholeheartedly, man, because like I could feel your energy through your content. And even like I remember, I don't know if you remember, but I remember I DM'd you maybe sometime a few weeks ago when I was when I first made your veggie ground recipe. And I asked you about like, if I'm trying to like not use salt, what can I do? And you sent me a whole like 3 voice notes just about that. And I can't imagine how many DMs, hundreds of DMs you get. And you didn't just respond with just text. You did that too, but you actually took the time to respond with a voice note, which was so authentic. I think you were on the treadmill at the same time as well. And I think that's powerful, being able to connect with people and, and give them a piece of us. I think that's a cool thing. I just want to thank you for all that you do, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you. And that's what I mean, man. Like, I sincerely love this. People
Yeah,
always thank me for taking time, and I hope I'm not bothering you. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, you're not
yeah,
only not bothering me, you're making my day. Because
yeah,
again, man, this is not a joke. Now, I gotta tell you also, when I before I started doing this, man, I was not on social media. I didn't even do Facebook. Like,
yeah,
I didn't do Facebook, I didn't do Instagram, and that's why it took me so long, because I've been on this journey for about 17 years, and people a long time
wow.
ago were saying, hey, you ought to go on social media. And I was like, nah, I'm not a social media type of guy.
Yeah, that's
I
how
don't
it
want to put
is.
myself out there but I'm so glad that I did, because connecting with people like yourself and others, man. And you're right. And you're right. And if you remember, I also even sent you a picture of the spice that you could use
Absolutely.
to some, yeah. So yeah, I remember that. I remember that conversation you had. And that's what I love about social media, man.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Now, you know, I know you were saying you've been doing this for 17 years. Like, do you like maybe they say 20 years ago, could you imagine what you're doing now to the level that you to the like could younger you have think like, man, I'm gonna be changing the world. I'm changing millions of people's lives just because I decided to, change my own life. Like, could you imagine what you've done so far and what you will do?
I couldn't, man. Even for myself,
Right,
forget others. I never thought that I would have myself on this track of eating in a
right,
way that's so foreign to the people who reared me, and had no
right,
idea that eating this
right,
way was the way to go. The fact that I organically got to this point, I'm so
right,
grateful for. But I do want to
yeah.
say, bro, I'm not, people give me a little too much credit, right? They
Oh,
give me too much credit. No, and even you're doing that. And I appreciate it. I mean, it's coming from a great place and I appreciate it. But I always want to say, man, it's the food that's amazing. You know what
it's
I
the
mean?
food
It's the
that's
food
amazing.
that's amazing. It's the power of what the food can do that's amazing. I'm just a messenger. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a manager. I'm booking the shows, but the food is doing the performance. The food is the thing that's impressing people, right? Because if I got up there and just said, hey, I'm Javant, and I played a video and talk, no one wants to hear
Yeah,
that, right? But when I make these foods, they go, man, that looks good. And that's with no oil, no wheat, no. Now that has an effect. So yeah, I don't look at it as I'm changing people's lives and I'm
Yes, it's
changing the
the food.
world. I'm just connecting them and giving them the ability to empower themselves. People always say to me, why don't you open a restaurant? Open a restaurant. I'm like, nah, because it's not a money grab. It's not about money for me. I'm not trying to think, how
Yeah,
can I make money? I'm thinking about how can I help people? And if you come to me and I make the food, well, when you go home, you got to eat what you've been eating because you don't know
yeah.
how to make it. But
Something
if
has
I
to
show
change.
you how to make it and give you the recipe, now I'm empowering you. You know what I'm saying? And you can do it for yourself. And
Mhm.
that's the way I like to do it. That's why I say make your own, right?
That's the essence of make your own.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And just even piggybacking off making your own, I think it's powerful when you make your own because when you're going to these different restaurants or somebody else is cooking for you, you don't even know like the quality of the ingredients that's going into the food. Like even me, like reduce, like coming off of blood pressure medicines, I realized that man, everything you eat outside, guys, is high sodium. How can I change this by making my own food? So I think that's powerful that you're empowering other people to make their own food as well.
Yeah. And let me say this too, man. As far as making your own goes, it might not happen initially, but if you consistently
Yes, sir.
improve your diet and eat
Yes, sir.
healthy foods, you know what else happens? Self-love. And if you
Mm,
don't have any, you'll gain some. If you have some, you'll have more. If you have a lot, you'll just radiate it. Because eventually, again, a lot of people go into eating healthy begrudgingly, like, man, I gotta eat this. Okay, I'll try this. I'm not really into it. But when you embrace it and you give it time, because it takes a little time for your taste buds to recalibrate and start
yeah,
accepting things and liking them. I didn't think I could like salads and nuts and seeds. Are you kidding me? Like you couldn't have convinced me of that going back, like you said, 20 years ago. You're going to eat nuts and
yeah,
seeds and salads every day. I'd be like, well, they must have a prison that serves nuts and seeds and salads because that's the only way I'm going to eat that stuff, right?
right.
But if you give it time, I'm telling you, man, at some point you'll be making that food and a light bulb will go off and go, damn, like I'm really taking care of myself. Like I'm loving myself, like I'm feeding my body what it needs. I feel better. And how could you have low self-esteem? How could you not
Yeah.
have self-worth when you know that you are pampering yourself like that you are giving yourself what you need? Bro, it's profound, man. It's profound.
That's a food for thought right there, man. That's powerful. That's powerful, man. How can individuals support you, man? Like you're doing some amazing things. I know it's the food, but you're doing you're doing this research. Your content, making quality content isn't, the easiest thing. How can people support you on your movement, man?
Well, I look at it the other way. How can I support you? You know what I'm saying? Because I've had people, believe it or not, in my DMs and even online and say, hey, I'll support you. I'll fund you. You want to open a restaurant? You want to do this? And I'm like, thank you. I love that sentiment. But right
Yes,
now I'm
sir.
in the right space, in the right place. And I mean, I love the sentiment. I love it, man. But I'm just trying to give. I'm not trying to get. Now, I will say, if I find a product that I think is beneficial for people,
Right.
I'll promote that product. I have a juicer that I promote, but I only want people to get it if it's right for them. I have a
Yes,
pan that I
sir.
promote, but I only want you to get it if it's right for you. The thing that I'm most excited about is my app. I have a healthy vegan meal plan and fitness app that's going to be coming out in August.
Oh,
And bro, it's
nice.
cost me thousands of dollars just to get this thing made. But I'm so excited about it because I think it's going to help a lot of people. It'll generate meal
Absolutely.
plans. You can personalize it if you have allergies. You can take certain ingredients out and just get meal plans with the foods that don't contain the things you're allergic to. It'll print out your grocery list with the items you need to get to make the
Oh
foods for the
man.
week. I'll be doing some fitness exercises and sharing those. It gives you the ability to set up a phone call with me like we're doing now, face to face. And it'll have a lot of nutritional facts on it. It'll tell you how to transition, talk about pantry staples and just all kinds of things. So I'm really, really excited about the app. But I still don't want to say, hey, support me by my app. I just
Absolutely.
want you to get that
Absolutely.
right. I
Absolutely.
want you to get the app if it works for you. If it works for you, it's an equal exchange again, because you're getting healthy and I can, support myself hopefully with this app and stop working a 9 to 5 and do this full time, man. And you'll see more quality content, and I'll up my game even
Absolutely.
more. Yeah.
The beautiful thing about what it is that you do, man, you provide massive value. And when you provide massive value, people resonate with that and they're compelled to support you in other ways. So just keep
Yeah.
on providing massive value, man. We appreciate you,
Absolutely.
man. And one of the last, I only got two more questions. I know I respect your time. I got two more questions. What is
Okay.
what is one of your favorite recipes that you make right now?
Favorite recipes that I make. Whew, man, I just made some samosas. Whew. And it was my first time making them. I've had them, but I never made them. Oh my gosh, they're good, bro. They're
You
so
said
good. I would say that's
samosas?
my,
That's like a little pastry
yeah,
thing.
yes. And it
So
has
how do you don't use oil? How do you make that? I mean, I got you.
um Well, you know, the vegetables that go inside of it and the broth, the kind of like a brothy vegetables, I just do it the same way I did the veggie ground. Add a little water, a little vegetable broth, and make those. And then I make the dough with almond flour. But man, and then I made a sauce. You won't believe it. So good, bro. And that's
Is it
going
on,
on
is it
my
on
now.
YouTube? Okay, okay.
No, you're right on the money. That's what I was getting ready to say. Is that I have my Instagram for my short form, but that
Right.
one is a long form video. So I'll be posting it on my YouTube channel, which by the way is going really, really well. Since I
Absolutely.
started posting my cooking show. But I'll be posting that now. It probably won't be for because I'm so ahead of the game, man. I do stuff now that I'm posting literally 2 months from now. You know what I mean? Or a month and a half from now. So it won't come out right away. But
Absolutely.
my goodness, it's so good. So good.
Turn your post notifications on. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right.
Absolutely, man. And Javant, I appreciate you, man. One of the last questions I'm going to ask you, man, is a question that I like to ask all of my guests when they come on this show is what is their definition of success? Now, success, it varies. It doesn't have to be anything monetary. I'm pretty sure your success goals is not anything monetary, but it could be just good health. It could be peace. It could be happiness. What is your definition of success?
Well, I like what you just said. I usually say happiness. That's what I would tell my daughters when they were young. I was like, you know, success is not measured by how much money you have. I always tell them there are millionaires that commit suicide. There are famous people that have committed suicide, and there are
Yeah,
paupers and poor people who live harmoniously and they're happy, right? So the money is not the deciding factor, right? What makes you happy? Is what success is. And my definition of success or what makes me happy may not be the same as yours or his or hers. And I'm not here to judge. You do what works for you. As long as you're not hurting anyone, giving anybody any hardships, if you achieve happiness, man, that's success, bro. However that is. However that is.
man. I know Javant from 20 years ago would be so proud of you, man. And I just want to say thank you so much for sharing your time and your energy in your beautiful kitchen with me, man. I really appreciate you for taking the request on and providing so much value to me as well as everybody that's going to listen and watch this. So I just want to say thank you again for the opportunity and joining me on the Fly on the Wall show today, Javant.